My dad's like, you never cut the grass here. You never screwed a light bulb in. What the f do you know about building a house?
Welcome to the Lion's Den, hosted by Lance Bachman.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Lion's Den. I'm Bill Russell, Chief Sales Officer here at One SEO. I am in the den for the Big Cat. He's working on a bunch of new projects this week, and I gotta tell you, I am super pumped to have my latest guest in. And I want to just do a quick introduction to him. Emilio DiCicco of the Bograd Boom Team. Welcome to the den, my friend.
I'm excited to be here. I've actually been waiting for this for a long time. You made good on your word.
All right. So just so everybody knows, Emilio is part of the Bograd Boom Team from the Philly to the Burbs. He's a real estate agent that's been on that team for a while, and they are the #1 team in all of Pennsylvania for the RE/MAX Associates. So, Emilio, welcome to the den.
I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, listen, the first thing is that I kind of want to start off with today is, probably about 5 months ago, I'm sitting there and I'm scrolling through my feed, and all of a sudden this guy's posts start following into my feed, and I'm like watching them, right? And it's you. What did you get from me as far as that one particular day about 5 months ago? Just tell the audience what kind of happened. So
I put these videos up on Facebook. Right.
What was the purpose of the videos?
So here, it's like, you're on this team, right? You're on the Bograd team, right? RE/MAX Elite. And it's a small team that does powerful numbers, right? Everybody on the team is a different personality. Okay, so I'm thinking to myself, I'm starting to do business. I'm starting to live up to the Bograd brand, right?
Right.
I'm booming all over the place. So I'm thinking to myself, I got my brother on the team he's an animal. He's top 1% in the country in sales. He sold over 100 houses this year.
Okay.
Follow his lead because we're close,
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking, I got to do something different, right? What can I do to be different? So I was like, I'm going to do a video. So I did a video.
What was the first video you did?
So the first video I did, I think that I want to say, was I bitching about being either in traffic or in the cesspool?
I think it was in traffic.
I was in traffic, right? Figuring the whole purpose, right, is I'm born and raised in Northeast Philadelphia, right? I live in the burbs now. I live in Holland, Bucks County.
Okay.
But then when you're from Philly, it never leaves you. It doesn't matter where you move or where you go, right?
Right.
So I figured Philadelphia is like an untapped market as far as recognition. All the shows on TV, all the personalities, all the reality shows, they're always geared toward New York City, Miami, LA. Philadelphia, nobody recognizes Philadelphia. So I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to go through and give the people from Philadelphia a purpose to be like, I've been on that street, or I've been stuck in that traffic.
Right.
You know what I mean? This shit sucks too. This guy's nuts,
What's the #1 traffic spot that, bar none, drives you nuts more than?
I'm not going to lie. I know Academy and Grant is a disaster, because when you come into Northeast Philadelphia, right, you're typically getting off at Academy Road, right? In order to get into the far Northeast, right, to get into the 19115, 19116 area codes, which is Bustleton and Grant, Red Lion, Haldeman, you got to make a left on Grant Avenue from Academy.
Right.
It's a disaster. But Byberry Road, they should implode it. Byberry Road they put a charter school at the end of Byberry Road. You have a Catholic school in the middle of Byberry Road. You have another public school in the middle. So that's the hub. So if you're coming home from work and you live out of the city, you got to get off of Woodhaven Road at Byberry, and you got to sit in traffic for an hour just to get to Bustleton Avenue. It's one lane each way.
It's crazy.
It's insane. It's unbelievable.
I hate getting off the boulevard and going onto Street Road, that left-hand turn. The construction that they did, they should at least know that the time frame of that light needs to run at least 2 minutes making the left, or you're going to back it all the way up
Listen, on Byberry Road, they allocated to the right-hand side a 2-mile stretch of woods. You can't build on it. You can't do anything with it. We used to steal cars and blow them up back there when we were kids. We used to ride our dirt bikes back there. Build the highway. What do you do? What are we saving turtles? We're not saving the turtles here. We're building infrastructure so people can get home to their kids and their family. That adds stress to people's lives. Like when you drive on Byberry Road, you think of things that you never thought of in your life. Like, maybe getting out of the car and beating somebody with a baseball bat.
So you make this video, and then all of a sudden your phone rings.
My phone rings.
And it's me.
And I'm floored because you follow somebody who's, in their company, and you see what they're doing. And they're not only doing it across the country and in your area, it's a well-recognized company. It's not a local company.
Right.
It's based locally,
right,
but it's not a local company. And from knowing a guy like Lance my whole life and, doing business with him when I had the car dealerships.
Yeah, we'll get into that. We'll get into that.
Talking to him and some of the things that he does, even some of his consulting and stuff, it blew my mind. So I'm thinking to myself, what do you want from me? Like, what does this guy want from me? Could it be that they actually like this shit?
It was, for me, that was what it was. And the best part was you busted my chops for calling you via Facebook Messenger because I didn't have your contact. And you put a whole video content out about that, which got great reviews from it. So you have to look at where the content that you're putting out, because the more engaging that you put that content out for people, the more it's going to get views, the more it's going to get liked, the more it's going to get shares, the more it's going to raise your profile. And, those are things that we're talking about. And the thing I said is, how do we blow up the brand?
How do you blow up the brand? That's where I'm at right now.
So before we get into all that good stuff, I always like to start off my dens with some rapid fire, questions.
Okay.
You've had a long history as far as different types of jobs that you've done. We'll get into that.
Correct.
But if it wasn't real estate right now, and you could have any job in the world that obviously would take care of your family or whatever it might be, what would it be?
Day trading.
Day trading. Okay.
And I'm talking level 2, live market data. I'm not talking Robinhood. I'm not talking on my phone. If you see some of my videos, you'll see my day trading station in back of me. It's 5 screens. I'm heavily educated in the area, but I'll tell you, it's a casino for big boys.
Okay.
You pay to play.
Right.
I've been up and I've been down.
And who do you follow as far as what they're saying in the marketplace?
So I follow Warrior Trading.
Okay, Warrior Trading.
Okay, his name
Remember
is Ross.
that, Warrior Trading.
Warrior Trading. His name is Ross. I took his classes to educate myself, which I already had a background in finance from college and just from being in different businesses. And I've learned how to use hotkeys, read screeners that give you the data before, the news outlets, the Yahoo Business and whatnot, integral charts and different things like that, Fibonacci, it's.
I didn't know you were a day trader.
Yeah.
You got your hands in a lot of different pots. Okay, you're on a deserted island. You get one record, one movie. What's the record you're taking on the deserted island?
So I'm taking any Tool album.
Tool. Okay.
Tool. It's my favorite band.
All right.
And any movie, I'm taking Goodfellas with me.
Goodfellas. All right. Great choices. All right. I saw a video you did, so this is where this question could come from. You get one candy bar for the rest of your life. None of this crap that's out there nowadays. But what's the one?
Hershey bar with almonds.
Hershey bar with almonds. Okay. If
you say almonds, I say almonds. It's great, isn't it?
It is. It's Pittsburgh coming out. If you could have dinner with anybody dead or alive, who would it be?
My father.
Okay. Aside from the necessities, what is the one thing you cannot go without in a day?
Cheesesteak.
Cheesesteak. All right.
I eat a cheesesteak 3 times a week. That's the Philly in me.
Okay. What are your top 3 cheesesteak places that you're going to?
Number 1, Steve's.
Steve's.
Number 2, DeTillo's.
DeTillo's.
Bustleton and Ron.
Okay.
Number 3, Cafe Carmela. Family, friends.
Okay.
Right on Home Avenue. Out of bounds.
All right. All right. There you have it. There are your 3. All right. So what I'd like to do is for the listeners to get a little more knowledge about who you are. You obviously kind of expanded out your career into a lot of different things. You talked about the car. I want to get more into it. So you grew up in the Northeast.
Correct.
Played sports?
Correct.
What was your sport growing up?
I am, and I say this without people, I want people to understand this. So when you're an athletic person, right?
Right.
You can get on, out with your friends and you can play football, right?
Right.
You have a snow day, you play football with your friends. You could pick up a basketball. Like if you put a basketball in my hands right now and I started dribbling, you'd be like, I want him on my team. I can't hit a shot to save my life. I suck.
Okay.
Right? Soccer, we're Italian. Even my dad even lived in Argentina. It's a big soccer country. I'm good at soccer. I hate it. Okay. I like to watch it. I'm an incredible ice hockey and roller hockey player. I've been playing ice hockey and roller hockey and even my brother since I was 6 years old.
Right.
It's the only sport that I could. If you told me I have an in with the Flyers, you can get on the ice with them and practice, you wouldn't know the difference that I wasn't a Flyer. I'm that.
Well,
level.
they're that bad right now.
But I'm that level. I'm that level of hockey player. At 45 years old, I'll put the skates on anywhere. Take it to any of these kids that think they're good right now.
How did that sport influence your life?
So, it influences your life because, as you know, in the times that I grew up, I'm 45, right? So you grow up in the 80s, you grow up in the 90s, right?
Yep.
So we didn't have access to, you know, ice skating rinks and our parents driving us everywhere because that wasn't the times. We rode our bikes, we walked, we rode skateboards. That's it. So we were outside in the streets all night and day on rollerblades. Like I remember having the first set of rollerblades from Sports Authority. You had to put a boot on, put this plastic piece of shit on, and clip the things on, and we would skate around and skate around and skate around. Then we would get involved in, you know, the ice hockey leagues and different things for, like, you know, in the neighborhoods, like Tarkin Rink, Grundy's.
Yep.
Big time.
Yep.
I played for the Bristol Blazers.
Yep.
So we just played and played and played. Then you get involved into these, they have these great roller hockey leagues, right? Which is, you're wearing the same equipment. You're wearing a hockey skate, ice hockey skate, but it has roller wheels on it.
Right.
So that influenced me because you're with a group of friends and people that you spend so much time with, and you create these bonds because they're your line mates, and this competitiveness to where your team, you're going in there to kick the other team's ass, and it's your boys you're doing it with, you know. And then you're in the cars with them. If their parents are dropping us off or picking us up, and then you start to drive.
It's kind of very similar to the aspect of where you are right now.
This is why I'm
with the real estate and Bograd team.
This is why I'm excelling with the Bograd team, and we'll probably get to that unless you want me to tell you now why we're excelling.
We can go there.
All right, listen.
This is just conversation.
It's as simple. I came from a big family. Okay. Not so much my family. I only have one brother, but my mother comes from 7 brothers and sisters.
Right.
We're always together. You know, my grandmother, she didn't have much, but we always had it. You know, we always had what we needed, and we were always together. My father, 3 brothers, you know, they lived catty corner to each other in Frankfurt, because where all the Italians lived at Worth and Margaret.
Right.
You know, that's where they came when they came off the boat. It's funny because my dad's brother married my mom's sister. So we're
hold on, go that back.
Yeah,
again?
okay. So my dad's brother, my Uncle Mario, married my mother's sister, my Aunt Lisa. You follow me?
Yeah, I'm with you.
So 2 separate families, but they lived across the street from each other. So one hooked up with one girl and said, "Yeah, I'm gonna hook my brother up with your sister." Well, that's how close this family is. So then we had the family car dealership. My father had a TV repair company.
Okay.
In the 70s, right? When he came to this country, he learned how to fix TVs.
What part of Italy did he come from?
He came from Longano, Abruzzi. Okay, Molise, Abruzzi. Longano is a very small town, 600-700 people in the mountains. The main town is below it, about 3 miles away. It's called Isernia. When he comes to this country, he learns how to fix TVs.
When did he come to the country?
1967.
Okay.
He learns how to fix TVs. He goes to school. He goes to work for Alert Television.
Okay.
Now listen to this story.
Yeah.
While my father's working there, okay, and he's a technician for them, the building, not the business, the building goes up for sale after he's working there for 5 years. My father bought the building and rented it to his employer.
How did he make that happen?
The employer did not. The person who owned Alert Television didn't have the money or didn't want to buy the building.
Right.
So my father bought the building. They paid him rent and salary. Then eventually, he took over everything.
Okay.
He did that for 10 years. Okay. At that time,
Do you call him when your television goes out?
Well, he passed away.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But he fixed everybody and their mother's televisions. I still run into people. I'm like, oh, Italian people. Oh, your daddy, he fixed my TV. What a beautiful man. You know, These Italian people, they never forget that shit.
How come they always forget the half end of the word?
They always, because it's broken English. They got to break it off, you know?
Right.
So that's what they do, you know? Your daddy. Because my dad would do stuff and not charge them. And they had people, Italians
All
love
in the
that.
neighborhood.
Italians love that shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So what happened is that toward the early 80s, TVs became, back in the day, you know, one person had a TV on the block. Everybody looked and watched the, you know, the Ed Sullivan show or some shit. In the early 80s, my father realized that TVs were becoming disposable. TV broke.
Yep. People would go get a new one.
So he started to, he owned the whole entire block on Frankfurt and Welsh.
Okay.
And in the back, he had a big garage and a big yard in the back. So him and my uncle started buying some cars and selling them on the side.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
Selling them on the side. And they start saying, oh, this business is lucrative. The used car business. You know, started going to new car dealerships, buying their trade-ins, wholesale, take them to the auction, make a profit, sell them on the street. So my dad said, you know what? I'm done with the TVs. The money's in the cars. He bought a car lot on Frankfurt Avenue, about a half a mile away on the corner, and opened up DiCicco Auto Sales.
Right.
And it was a family business. My father, his brother Mario, and my uncle Tony, his other brother.
Okay.
My grandfather was a body man, you know, steel body and fender man.
Yep.
So they go on a run, right, with this business. Then we start to get older, me and my brother.
Right. And they bring you in.
Not bring me in. I'm like 15, 16 years old, right?
Okay.
I'm working in delis.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Like I loved like cutting lunch meat for some reason. So I'm working in a deli from 13 through high school and college. I worked in a deli.
Okay.
So I come downstairs one day, and remember when the Inquirer and the Auto Trader was big?
Yes.
The people had the
Yes.
you know, the ads for the cars and
Yep.
stuff. So I come downstairs and I'm like, Dad, I'm gonna go next time you go to the dealership, you know, to buy the trade-ins. I'm gonna buy a car, you know, and I'm gonna clean it up and fix it up. I'm gonna put it in the paper and sell it. Like I came downstairs like I reinvented the wheel. My dad was like, he didn't want to shoot my dreams down. He's like, what the fuck you think I've been doing for the last 15 years? Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
right.
come on, like, but whatever. So it's no problem. So I started doing that, and I would buy a Mustang, sell it. He would come home and be like, where'd you get this car? I'd be like, I sold the other one. And I started building some bank.
If you like this content and you're trying to grow your business, follow me at Lance Bachman and Lance Bachman Digital on Facebook. LFG, time to grow.
So the car business is going great.
Fantastic.
Okay. What's the transition from there?
That I am going to buy a piece of land and build a set of twins on it.
You decide you're going to get into the new construction business?
I'm driving down Evans Street, right, which is 2 blocks away from my house where I live with my parents.
Yep.
And I see this dilapidated house with a for sale sign on it. I call a lady on the phone. Now, I don't know what a side yard setback is. I don't know what a front yard setback is. I don't know if this land's big enough to build shit on it. I don't know what it is. There's a tree growing through the middle of the house. The house is destroyed. I call her up. She goes, the house is $45,000. I said, all right, I want to see it. She goes, well, you know, it's a handyman special. You can't get a mortgage on this house. You got to, there's nothing here. You got to buy cash. I said, meet me over the house right now. I'll be right there. She comes over. I walk the house. So I give you 30, just like this. You know, it's a different market back then. It's a different times. This is, you know, this is 2002.
Okay.
Okay. Because when I finished building was 2004. So 2002, I said, I'll give you 35,000. They call the estate up, but we settled at 37.5. I remember making settlement in like 7 days. I'm excited as shit. My dad comes in. I go, Dad, sit down. I got to talk to you. He goes, what happened? I go, I bought a house. He's like, he goes, you bought a house. My dad's like, you never cut the grass here. You never screwed a light bulb in. What the fuck do you know about building a house? He goes, we went over there, right?
Now, are you puckering a little bit because your dad's saying this to you?
So now I'm getting nervous. I'm like, what? You know, I'm getting like you know, pissed.
I just bought a house.
Yeah, like
Dad.
I just bought a house, dude. Like I know what I'm doing, right?
Right.
But he goes over there.
How old are you at this point?
In 2002, 22.
Okay, so he's like, you're screwing up. Go back to selling cars and slicing Bellamy.
What he's thinking is this. He goes to the house and he's like, he pulls me aside. He's like, listen. He's like, you better hope to God we can put windows and rugs in here and you can just get your money back. He's like, I don't know what the you did here, but right? So I'm like, I'm going to do this, right?
Yep.
So what I do is I go and get the plans done, right? I hire the zoning. I get a zoning lawyer. an architect. I go to the streets department. I get the plot plans. Now my dad starts to see all this shit happening. I go in front of the Civic Association to get the variance because I needed 5 feet. You need 7 feet by rights,
right?
But I needed 5 feet to build these twins.
Right.
So now he starts to, he's like, I'm at the house at the table with all this shit. He's starting to pay. Now my dad's not dumb. My dad's very smart. My dad was a very smart guy.
Right.
He starts to see this, right?
And he's seeing what you're thinking.
He's seeing what I'm thinking. He's seeing my vision. His thing was, you work so hard for this money, right? Nobody your age, none of your friends had this money, and you blew it on this house.
Right.
Like, I'm just worried about you getting your money back, and stick with me. Maybe you'll buy a duplex or something, and the people pay the rent, all that old school shit. So he sees all this operation going on, right? Then I call my buddy up who owns a big his father owns a concrete company and a excavation company. He knocks the house down. We survey the property. My dad's driving by this shit to go to work every day, and he's seeing it. So he pulls me aside. Whatever you need, don't even go to the bank. Don't worry about nothing. I'll fund this project for you. But he don't want nothing. My dad's not like that. He's not looking for anything. If he can better me, he'll do it.
Right.
I built that sucker. I sold the one for $235,000. It paid for the entire project. The land, the build, everything. The other house was 100% profit. From that moment on, I opened Evans Grove.
Okay.
LLC.
Yeah.
I go down the shore because I'm partying in Margate.
Right.
At this time.
Right.
And I'm thinking to myself, my next move is to build down the shore because that's where the money's at. Go down the shore with this money. Now, I'm papered up. Like that's a lot of money back then for a kid to have.
Yeah.
I got like $260,000 in my bank account, right? And my dad's like, put it in this account, go to see this guy. He's got all these funds and shit he wants me to put. I'm thinking that money's going to make me money.
Right.
And I have no bad habits at this point in my life, right? So I'm like, I'm aces. I never been arrested. I never had a drug problem. I never had any reason for me to think that, this was going to be a bad idea for me to not have this money in my bank account.
The only thing that can hurt you at this point is bad beats.
Bad beats. That's it.
Okay. So you take the money.
I take the money, right? I go to Margate. They had 6 condos in this one building. They call them condos, but it was more like an apartment building on the corner. And they wanted like $500,000 or something like that for it.
What would that same property go for right now?
About $2.5 million. All right, because somebody bought it and did what I wanted to do with it. So my dad's like, he was going to go in with me on this one because I didn't have all the money. He was like, no problem. You know what I mean? He was paid off everything, and he was like, so he pulls me aside and he goes, listen. He goes, why don't you just buy like a single house or some shit, or buy a piece of land? He's like, and do what you just did.
Why are you going balls deep?
Why are you going balls deep? He's like, you know what I mean? Why don't you crawl before you walk? So at that point, I wasn't pissed. I was like, you know what? That makes sense. You know what I mean? Because it was like 6.
At this point, did you only have the one major deal that you had put under your belt, or did you have multiples?
That's it.
You had the one deal.
That's it.
Okay.
So I go to Margate, right? And I'm driving down Adams Avenue.
Okay.
Right? Adams Avenue, 2 houses in from Ventnor, a block away from Atlantic, a block away from the beach. So I'm two blocks from the beach and 2 blocks from the bay. And I'm not even paying attention at this point because I'm green. I'm only partying there because we used to go to Wildwood. So I buy this house on 7 North Adams, and it is a clam shack, right? So I immediately go to the architect, and I get plans done for a top and bottom condo. Now, they call them condos. They're just 2 units,
yep.
But they're big. They're like 2,000 square feet apiece.
Correct.
I get the plans done, right? And I'm partying in the house, right? We're hanging out. I buy a little boat, fishing boat. We're fishing. I go to the zoning board. I need a variance again. The lot's 37.5 by 125. I need 40 feet by rights to build what I want, right? Next to me, there's another condo that had 4 units in it. They had a driveway. I had a driveway. In between that driveway was 3 feet
that you needed
of stone, like just a stone decorative thing. Nothing there that would hurt. It was just decoration. So they deny me, right? So I'm like, fuck. So I go to the next door condo associate. Says, dude, listen, I'll give you $15,000 for this stone. Everybody's on board except for this one jerk off, right? Breaking my balls, breaking my balls. I go back in front of the zoning board multiple times, and they keep denying this. And I'm getting pissed because the architect I'm using is from there. He knows the people. He's representing me. I don't have a zoning lawyer because he says you don't need one. It's a small town. I know. I'm in the zoning every month. I'm doing all this shit.
Right.
And he's just failing miserably. And I'm getting, at the time, I'm hot-headed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not mature.
Not where you are now.
Not where I'm at now. And I'm getting pissed, and I'm acting out and doing all the wrong things. So, at the last zoning meeting that I lost at, I'm in there with my mother-in-law, who wasn't my mother-in-law at the time. She was my girlfriend's mother.
Right.
The people from the condo next door, minus the one jerk-off who would have made this a lot easier for me, and a bunch of neighbors I made friends with. So we go into the zoning meeting. They want to support me. She has her pocketbook on a chair. This guy comes in, right, who winds up becoming one of my best friends and dear family friends. I watch his kids grow up and everything. He comes in and takes my mother-in-law's pocketbook off the chair and, like, puts it on the floor and puts his shit there. I lost my – I was under the gun, so I snap on this guy, right?
Right.
Not knowing who he is or what he's about. So I get out of there, right, and we're walking out the door as I lost again, and he grabs me. He's like, come here, I want to talk to you. And I'm like, yeah, what do you want? I thought he was going to start some shit. I'm like, what do you want? Right? He's like, come to my office tomorrow. Here's my card. John Scott Abbott. All right, no problem. He goes, just do me a favor. He goes, just forget what happened. Cut the bullshit, right? He's like, calm down.
Right.
That shit's not going to get you nowhere in these small towns. Come to my office tomorrow. He's like, he's born and raised. He's a lifelong resident of Margate.
Right.
This guy is the zoning guru. He's done all the casinos.
Yep.
He's done every brand new construction, every hospital, everybody in every short town calls John Scott Abbott.
Right.
I go into this office. It's like a house he bought with an apartment on top, and
that he uses as his office.
Yeah, and it's nice inside, but it's a short, small office, like a short town office.
Right.
I go in there. I sit down with him. He goes, listen, this is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna help you. He's like, you're using all the wrong, and he's just like me. He's like, you're using all these jerk offs. He's like, this isn't gonna get you done over here. He's like, listen to me, and I'll help you, and we'll get it done. This guy don't even take $1 off me. It's the craziest thing, because we start talking, he finds out I'm in the car business. So I take him to Mannheim and shit. I'm buying his wife car, I'm giving them to him, and I'm getting him these deals, and he's getting me, what I need for zoning. Make a long story short, the crash happens in 2008, right?
Did you build?
I don't build because now I'm sowing my oats down there. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. 2008 comes, the market shits the bed. The shore secondary housing market really shits the bed down the shore.
Yep.
Right. So, right around the end of 2008, beginning of 2009, we go back in front of zoning. We didn't change shit. We didn't do nothing different. Right? I go in front of the zoning board with the same plans that got denied 5 times. He gets up there, the same presentation. The whole entire zoning board stands up and claps. This is a wonderful idea. This is a beautiful property. Every builder should you're a trendsetter. I'm sitting there like this.
Right.
Like talking to myself like this kid, either this guy knows everybody and their mother, or what happened was I was the first zoning application back in after the crash, and the economy down there was getting killed. So even other people were like, you're crazy, you're this, you're that, you're blah 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 blah. I call up Bank of Elmer. I needed a construction loan for this one because I own the land outright at this point.
Right.
But I needed a construction loan to build this thing because this is a big project. I get the construction loan secured, which wasn't easy because they were scared too from the crash.
Yep. I
get that secured. I build the condos. The whole project cost me, between the land and the build, $600 and change.
Okay.
I sold the bottom unit for $537.
Okay.
And I sold the top unit for $629. Now I'm really papered the fuck out. Sandy comes. Mm-hmm. Murders the shore point.
Yep.
all the people who live there forever were taking all the insurance money and just selling, because they own the land outright.
Right.
Selling off the land. Me and my cousin go out, and we go and buy all the dilapidated houses.
Yep.
And we have inventory for 11 straight years to knock down and build. This is the first summer that Evans Grove NJ LLC, Emilio DiCicco, has been priced out of Margate, New Jersey, because of the real estate market. I did not have a project this year because I was getting outbid by 100,000, 120,000. So the spread, like now you're laying out $1 million, $800,000 to build these houses to make $100,000, 100. It doesn't. The money doesn't make sense.
Right.
But if you're a multi-millionaire or with a big backer, if you have 6 projects going on at one time,
right,
you make $600,000-$700,000. Okay, I can't lay out $1 million to make $100,000.
So this is where the kind of thinking says to say, you know what, Evans Grove was a great run for me. I'm having conversations with my brother, and he says
he's the catalyst.
And he says, come.
So while we're in the car business,
okay,
right? My brother has had his real estate license now for about 7 or 8 years, but he's doing it part-time.
Okay.
He's known Joe.
Right.
Joe sees my brother and knows the potential there.
Right, right.
I've known Joe since we were kids.
Yep.
And me and my brother are at war with each other over the family business. I live in the front of him. Like, I bought the old farmhouse, restored the farmhouse, and there was lots behind there because it was a farm. He bought a lot behind me and built his house. If I could have put surface-to-air missiles from my house to his house during this 2-year span, I swear to God, we would have had a war. Like, because I'm thinking, I'm old school. My brother is shrewd business. He's a sweetheart of a guy. Like, you would love him. Like, you can, like, he's like a great guy. But when it comes to business, he's a finance guy. He's the numbers guy. I'm on the streets with the guys eating lunch, drinking Dunkin' Donuts, buying inventory.
Right.
I'm not paying attention to numbers. He's looking at me going, listen, those days that we had with the car business, putting rims on cars and selling 70, 80 cars, that shit's gone, buddy.
Right.
And my father passed away, so I'm hanging on to it was our father's business. I'm hanging on to these memories. My brother's hanging on to saying, we got kids to feed and shit.
Right.
We got families at home. We got bills to pay. Like, we're over here getting paid last. Before, we got paid first and gave everybody money under us. Yep. Now they're getting paid first and we're getting paid last. You need to wake up. You need to wake up. And I would always say, you forgot where you came from, and Daddy get ba. And he's like, dude, I'm not. He's like, you're jerking off, and we're poor, right? Till it got evident to me, like, it was like that he just wasn't coming in no more.
Right.
Like, he would come in at like 4 or 5 o'clock and do what he's got to do just to get and the business is suffering because times are changing and nobody's got their heart into it no more. And it's hard to run by yourself because I couldn't do it without him. Finally, he's like, you know what? I'm like, fuck it, we're closing. You know what I mean? We'll sell off the inventory. We've owned the buildings and shit. You know what I mean? Whatever.
Right.
We'll sell it off. We'll do what we got to do. So I go home. I start day trading. Did I just mess that up?
No, you're good.
I start day trading, right? He's with Bograd, right? And he's, lighting the world on fire. He's doing what he has. He's not lighting. When you light the world on fire, you're going into something with the knowledge of, because my brother was involved in some of these flips that I had, and he built his own houses too. He has his own company, so it's good. I have the New Jersey and Pennsylvania. He has G&G, so we do a lot of shit together too.
Right.
So he's excelling with Bograd, and he's looking at me, and Joe's even asking, like, what's going on with your brother? And I'm at home day trading.
Right.
And he lives his driveway. He drives right by my house. He sees me outside like 4 in the afternoon, smoking cigarettes, doing 360s. He knows what's going on. He knows that I'm up 30 grand, down 50 grand, and he's worried about me. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because my wife and his wife are really close.
Yeah.
And my brother, I shoot from the hip. I have no problem telling somebody I love them or going and having a talk with them. My brother,
he's more calculated.
Because
of the finance.
Correct. So he's definitely like worried about me, and he comes to me, and it really, I don't want to say saves my life, but saves the person who I really am, and puts me back on the pedestal and gives me this confidence. And that's really what goes on. He comes to me and goes, listen, Joe wants you on the team. And I want you with me. So we go, he goes, come with me. And every weekend I go out with him. And I start talking to the clients, like, and he's like, holy shit, like, you're doing, this is what I was going to tell you to do, but you got it. Like the first house we were in that I went to him with, this couple comes. They fired their realtor. They looked at, the guy even said, he goes, I will send you the houses that we went to see. It's been a year and a half. I looked at 72 houses. The first house I met these people at with my brother, they bought it that night. Then they called me on the phone. They said, I can't, but thank you. I'm not even a realtor at this time. I'm like, just coming along for the tutelage.
Right.
So I go get my license, right? I go talk to Joe. Joe's like, dude, this is where you got to be. This is what it is. He goes, I'm telling you, this is just the beginning. And I start to go out there and I start to carve my niche.
Right.
And when I carve my niche, I start to, you know what it's like to have somebody call you on the phone and say, thank you. And thank you for what? Thank you for being a part of our journey to buy this house. Or thank you for making this easy for me for selling my house that I raised my family in for 40 years.
Right.
My husband passed away. You go into work to pick a check up, right? And in your box, there's 3 handwritten cards that somebody took the time out to go by and sit there and handwrite you a message of gratitude. So now, it's like I have purpose again. Now, then you look back and you look at the team and you look at all these people who have, they're individuals with different personalities, and the head of the team has what I had in the car business. His father is the broker of record, one of the brokers of record. He's the partner. Joe is the son.
Yep.
And we are the people. So now I'm back in a family environment.
Yeah.
I'm at their houses.
Yeah.
We're on the phone laughing. We have this camaraderie. We have all the things and all the tools besides what we do and why we do it so well. There's so much behind the scenes that gives you a purpose, right? And that's what I don't think people see on Facebook. And people see, there's a lot of haters out there. They see Joe and they see $1 million listings. They see my brother, sell this, went there, went this. They see Tim Rocco building houses and selling houses. They see Alina. They see Loretta. They see me now with 6, 7, 8 settlements a month. But the family environment and what goes on behind the scenes, there's no jealousy and no animosity whatsoever.
There are two things as a follow-up question to that, and the first one is, I think the one thing when somebody would say to me, and in all transparency to the audience, the Bograd team is a client, have been a long-time client of One SEO.
Yes.
And so I've gotten to know, obviously, you, and I've gotten to know Loretta, and I've gotten to know Joe. And I think that the value proposition that they bring to the table is they care.
They care. And I really do care myself, and so does my brother. Like, I get emotionally involved in these deals.
Yeah.
And I'm on the phone with these clients, and they are, look, people aren't stupid, right?
No.
You can pick up on somebody's demeanor, the way that they come across and express their emotions on a certain topic or situation. They know you're 100% invested. You might be more invested than them. Because, they're calling up saying, what's going on? And I'm like, listen, I'll call this motherfucker, and I get on the phone and obviously I don't. But I have a way of, you can be passive aggressive and get your point across without having to be like a lunatic or be, tasteless.
I got you.
There's ways to do it.
The other thing I would say that describes you is that you guys have a tremendous amount of fun at each other's expense.
Correct.
And there's no, you see some of Loretta's posts and how she busts Joe's chops. Relentless. And you know what? It feeds Joe.
So then you got to remember, right? So you look at a relationship like that, right? And nobody knows the backstory on that relationship. Joe is, doing a tremendous amount of business 7 years ago. He doesn't have an assistant. He doesn't have anybody on his team. Forget people under him making money and shit. He doesn't have anybody helping him. Right. So he's like going nuts, and he talks to somebody who is like a mentor to him in the business, and they're like, well, have your assistant call my assistant. He's like, I don't have an assistant. He's like, what the? He's like, you're doing this kind of business? You don't have an assistant?
Right.
Enter Loretta. He puts an ad on Craigslist, right? Loretta shows up. He had 20 other meetings. He's like, she goes, throw that shit out.
I can picture her saying it.
She said this. Throw that shit out. Joe will tell you the story. Throw that shit out. You're hiring me. I'm your girl. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you 2 years, then I'm going to go full time on my own, right? She comes in, blows up the spot, makes his life easy, does what she's supposed to do, and then takes and builds her own brand, right? But you got to remember too, as this Joe Joe doesn't owe Loretta anything, and Loretta doesn't owe Joe anything. But as you grow with somebody, you start to see Loretta's kids getting older, Loretta's husband. Loretta's a mom. She's cooking. The kids are sick. I got to do it. So you start to see that person you see on Facebook having fun at other people's expenses and being rough around the edges is
who she is.
She is who she is, but she's also a wife, a
right.
mother. You know what I mean? Another business owner. They have other businesses, and she has a soft side. You know, so they become more like a brother and sister relationship.
Yeah, it's in a lot of ways. You know, Lance and I have worked together in over 20 years now on 3 different companies, and so I think that ability to have a relationship with somebody is what carries people through the ups and valleys in any type of business that it's out there. And you know, it's good to hear that you were able to listen to your brother to say, hey, I'm going to come back to the kind of grounding you, it sounds like.
It took a minute, I'm not going to lie, you know, for me to grasp it. But I look like, you know, it's funny when things are happening, you don't see them happening in front of you, right? Now we're sitting here talking about it, I look back on it was the greatest thing that ever happened, right? But
right.
The road to get to here, you know what I mean? There's a lot of self-doubt, a lot of, you know, can I do this? Am I going to be good at it? But then I started to think to myself, when I started studying for the test, I bought so many properties. Like, I'm looking at contracts. I'm like, this is easy.
When you look at the real estate market, it's become more than competitive than ever.
Correct.
What are some of the aspects that outside of caring, what makes your team stand out amongst the competition?
Relationships with other realtors.
Relationships with other realtors.
Yep. How you conduct yourself, win or lose. Remember, you're not going to get every house.
Correct.
Because the offer is ultimately taken by the seller of the house. So if the sellers feel that offer is the best offer, no matter how much their agent has explained to them why it might not get to the settlement table or appraise, you have to have a good attitude and be like, I'll catch you, I'll catch you on the next round. And the people will turn around and be like, you've been wonderful. I'm so sorry. I hope we can. And I'll say, if you have another listing or whatever coming, make sure you call me. It's a camaraderie you need to have. You can't be a dick. Because guess what? It's real simple for them to see, Emilio DiCicco? Yeah.
Right. How, obviously we've gone through 20 months of craziness. How have you kind of changed in the time frame that let's just say the whole Boom team, how have they changed how they're going about dealing in this COVID environment that we've been in? Because, correct me if I'm wrong, out here in the burbs, inventory is sparing.
Very sparing.
Very sparing. How have you guys kind of negotiated to that unsettlement in the marketplace that there is a lack of inventory on the market?
So remember, right? We are not in competition with each other, right? We are calculated in zip codes, okay? I own 19007, right where we're sitting.
Okay.
I'm a premier agent in that zip code for Zillow. My brother is a premier agent in 19067. I'm just going to tell you where they're at. He's in Yardley and in Ben Salem.
Right.
Tim Rocco is also in Yardley. He's right behind my brother. So if one of them can't get in touch, you can't miss them. It's either my brother or Tim. Brother or Tim. And he's also in Feasterville.
Right.
Me and Loretta have something really big going on for 2022. We own the entire zip code of Doylestown.
Wow.
Over 100% of so if you come through Doylestown,
You heard it here first.
if you come to Doylestown or you're selling or buying a house, you're going to call Emilio DiCicco or Loretta Stark, plain and simple, and you're going to deal with the Bograd team. And that's 29 live connections a month. And I've been crushing it out of here with 7 connections a month out of Bristol because it's great. It's a blue-collar area. It's up and coming. New construction all over the place. And they have a little main street down here. It's like New Hope. People love it. And it has access to everywhere you want to go. I-95, the Northeast Corridor with the trains, the turnpikes. You can go anywhere from here.
You know, it's interesting is that you look and see where real estate has gone, and people are getting 10, 20, 30% over asking price. Craziness. No.
I'll tell you about that.
You know, no 100% cash offer, no inspection. You throw it out there, it's going down. How long does that continue?
So here, let me, just before we get into that, I'm going to tell you why people think other people are crazy for going 30 grand and 40 grand over ask. So mind you now, you have a listing. I go to a listing appointment, right? And the person bought that house in 1990.
Right.
Okay? And they want to sell it. They paid $105,000 for the house. They own it outright.
Yep.
I turn around to them. I got my computer. I got my my comparables and all my my data and stuff like that. And before anything, we have like a normal conversation. I said, "Listen, John, what do you think your house is worth?" He goes, Emilio, my neighbor, he just sold the house. 2 houses down, he got 500 grand for it. All right. I'm in their house and I'm looking at the house and it's a very clean house, but it's got some dated stuff in there. The kitchen could use a a once over. It's got some different color rugs and stuff, but it's a nice house. So I said, all right, John, no problem. I pull my computer, I open it up, and I go to the neighbor's house and I pull the pictures up. Why did this guy get $500,000? He goes, yeah, he had it listed for $479. He got $500. I go, why did he get that? I pull up the pictures. First thing I see is a renovated kitchen. Okay, go to the next picture. Bathroom renovated. Hardwood floors, not rug. Air conditioning unit, 2 years old. I go in front of him and I say, John, look, listen. Let's go see your air conditioning unit. He goes, well, I've been servicing it. It's a great. No, it's 10 years old. It's this, it's that. Okay, let's go upstairs and see the bathroom. Clean bathroom, but it's one of them pink
mauve colored bathroom.
Pink bathroom with the gold, faucet.
Right.
Clean though, you know what I mean? I come back downstairs, I sit down and I say, come here, look at this. This is not a knock on your house by no means, but we have to go apples for apples here, because what's going to happen is that if we go for here and it doesn't start to sell or get if it doesn't sell or doesn't gain traction, it's going to sit on the MLS for months at a time and wind up on page 7. I said, on top of that, you're going to want to sell the house, and we're going to have to do price reductions. When somebody sees a wounded bird, they feel it's easy prey. If you see a house is cut by 20 grand, right? You think your offer is going to be the next asking price? It's going to be 20 grand under that.
Right.
You never want to show weakness in the market. That's why you have to price accordingly. I'd rather be low and get over ask than be high and do price cuts. So I sit down with them and I say, okay. And he goes, yeah, you're right. He goes, I was telling my wife that. She don't, it goes, I always go that route. The husband blames the wife or the wife blames the husband.
Right.
So I say, he goes, well, what do you think? I said, let's create a buzz for this, right? He got 500 grand. He listed at 479. Let's put yours up for 429.9. You own it outright. What am I going to walk away with? I'll tell you what. I'll do 2% on my side. We'll give them 2.5% on the buyer side, because you don't want people to see 2%. They're going to bypass your house because other people are giving more, percentage points. Sounds great. All of a sudden, people come in, right? And they blast over because they're so desperate to get a house that the people are undervaluing their houses because they bought them for $105,000.
Right.
It's you understand? Like, if you own something for 30 years that you owned outright since 2000, that you paid $105,000 to, 300 grand, 350 sounds good to you. Well, when somebody pays $425 for it, the rest of the people who are looking, they don't have any clue, think that these people are nuts, that they're overpaying. This is what's driving the market. No inventory, nice houses, and people who've lived in these houses for a long period of time that have bought them at the market value from 30 years ago. There's a lot of things that people don't tell you about the market. Like, oh, it's booming, it's great. Get in now. That and the interest rates are peanuts.
Well, I think that, and it's funny, I can't wait for when the episode airs. I'm going to take that last clip and I'm going to send it to my ex-wife because she's got her house on the market. But she overvalues what the comps in the marketplace say. And people get so caught up on the comps versus what you're actually going to get because of what you just said, which is, let me bring in the house a little lower because you can't find anything, and let a little war get into play.
We live in a world of analytics. Like, I don't know why people pay attention to the news so much that they'll sit and have a fist fight over politics, right? They'll have a fist fight over the COVID restrictions and different regulations, right?
Right.
But they're not paying attention to the analytics of the market. Like, I just don't understand why people don't pay. Like, it is what it is. The numbers are there for a reason. Why are you trying to reinvent the wheel? If there's clear-cut numbers across the board,
right?
Why are you saying no? What?
Because people have the emotional attachment. They think their house is worth more than what it is, and they don't trust the expert. Listen, if you come to me and say, Bill, what do I do for digital marketing? And I say, Emilio, this is what you should do. And you go, no, I don't want to do that. Like, right. That would be what's like me coming to you and you saying, Bill, price your house at $425. And I say to you, no, I want to price it at $575.
Listen, my whole life, right, I've always let people sharpen my pencils. Like, that's the one thing about people don't understand. They think because I come off with this hard exterior and, I'm outspoken and shit, I have a huge heart and I love learning. I love, listen, especially people that have been around, longer, my elders.
We've talked a lot about from the auto to the deli to the car business, as far as Evans Grove to the Bograd team. Kind of trying to wrap things up here a little bit. There's a couple of final questions that I have. Number one, if you could go back and tell 23-year-old Emilio, when you sold that first property, here's my advice to you, son. What would that advice be?
So, don't have any midlife crises.
Okay.
Because what happens is that I didn't do anything that hurt my money. I was smart with the money and aggressive with the money. But at some point in your life takes a toll on everybody, right? And complacency sets in.
Yeah.
To where you start thinking like, I don't need this and I don't need to do that and I don't need to. So you lose some of your drive. And when you lose some of your drive, you lose a piece of who you are. And it's not easy to get it back the older you get.
Right.
So you either have to prepare yourself for the future better in case you want to have a lull, or you have to keep going and not have it in your mind that, oh, I have money, I don't need this, and I don't need that, or I can do this and I can do that, because we're not getting any younger, right? The things that we could do, even our minds wanted to do, even the aggressiveness in the business, even at this pinnacle that you're at One SEO, right? It's sometimes you hit a roadblock with growing it. You turn around and you might sit down and be like, do we really need that aggravation? Like, I know we can make more money, but do we want to work that much more? Do we need to hire more people? Like, we're good where we're at. It's a mindset, and a lot of people go through it. So 23-year-old Emilio is don't let life get in your way, because and money will do that to you.
Right.
Like, a lot of people have other things. Like, if I had a drug problem, or I ran into partying and I was flying to Ibiza in Vegas and, you know what I mean, playing poker with, poker stars, then I would tell you maybe a different story. But, when you're looking at it and it's there and you have the ability to do things that most people can't, you get complacent.
So you've been blowing up the brand.
Blowing up the brand.
Where does our audience find you if they're looking to list their home, they're looking to buy a home, they're looking to find you?
I made myself available through Facebook. Now, obviously, I know that people say you should do Instagram, you should do this, you should do that, right? And I know we didn't talk about the videos, and maybe you want to talk about them and then wrap this up. But Facebook, I figured, is the easiest place to get me, because I feel people have a phone addiction nowadays.
Yep.
Right? And
1 out of 3 times that you're going to your phone, you're checking your Facebook or Instagram.
It doesn't. You can put your phone down for 2 minutes, and 2 minutes later you'll pick it up and be like,
it's never more than 3 feet from you.
You could be watching TV, right? and watching an old movie and see an actor and be like, fuck, I wonder if this guy's still alive. Let me Google his name. Then you start Googling, oh, he's still alive. I wonder what his net worth is. Then you're on there you're there for 12 hours a day.
You're down a rabbit hole. You know, it's interesting, and let's just touch base on that before we wrap it up. You come up with this idea. We're going to go all the way back to say, I'm going to start posting different content, and it's just run-of-the-mill shit that you run into, traffic. The one thing that I truly embraced and liked that you did was your shout out on local businesses.
Yeah.
That you came in contact with.
Let's get to the point, right? Let's get to the point. You want to know why I'm doing videos? I want to put Philly on the map. And when I say Philly, people need to realize that I'm not leaving out Montgomery County and Bucks County, because if you make 2 rights and a left, you're out of the city.
Right.
Let's be honest. Like, everybody's buying their cigarettes on these tobacco huts on Route 13, right? So I want Philly doesn't get right. Look at the real estate market in Philadelphia. If you go to Manhattan, go to Chicago, go to LA, try to buy a 4-story, single-family house with a rooftop deck like Northern Liberty has, they want $600,000 for. You should pay $6 million for that. Yep. It's an untapped market. And Philly people are Philly's the only area, like, you could walk up to somebody in a good mood and be like, hey, man, I love your shorts. And a guy will be like, what the f are you looking at, dude? Like, what are you, and want to argue with you. That's Philly. But I love that shit. So we have a bunch of guys we grew up with, right, that are all successful, right? But we could all tell little stories about each other, like where we actually this time and that time. And so why not expose it? So not only am I trying to blow my brand up, right? I want to blow people that I know's brand up. So I tell them, comment. If people are commenting on my shit and you own a roofing company, put your roofing company on there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you have a deli or you have a restaurant or you sell dog treats like my friend Eric Sender, that's a great invent. People love their pets. Listen, you could take a pet to the animal hospital right now, right? And they could come out and say it's $7,000 and the dog's going to die. You'll rob somebody for that $7,000 because it's your pet.
So we have something we like to do. What's called the final roar. Okay. And the final roar is where I'd like you, okay, to give our audience 30 seconds of your knowledge and wisdom about the real estate space. You've had building, construction, selling, buying, listing. What advice would you give to somebody who's getting ready to list or to sell, besides calling the Bograd team? But what advice would you give them?
I'll be honest with you, that they better pick the right person that goes along with their personality, because it's a long road. Like, it's easy to have an offer come in and have it accepted, right? Now you have to deal with the behind the scenes, the paperwork, the addendums, the title companies. You want to make sure that their transition to the closing table is smooth, and that becomes intimate. That's not emails, buddy.
Yeah.
That's why we're successful. That's me coming to your house, me on the phone with you 9 o'clock at night, me on the phone with you 8 o'clock in the morning, me representing you or the Bograd team representing you without even you knowing it's in your best interest,
right,
to have a person like us behind you. Because let me tell you something, there's some shit that goes on, right, that if you're not represented by the right person, that could really hurt you and your family. This is big time business here, buddy. That you're selling and buying real estate, right? It's not a car. You don't like a car, 2 weeks later, go trade that shit in.
Yep.
They hand you the keys to that fucking house at settlement. You walk out of there, that's your shit.
Yep.
You own it. You got to pick the right people.
So there you have it. From Emilio, the Italian Philly realtor. Check him out on Facebook. Thank you so much for your time in the den today.
This shit, man.
All right.
I had a
Listen,
great time.
It was a pleasure talking to
Awesome.
you, and we look forward to hearing more of your success and having you back in the den.
Thank you so much.